Before we begin, let's give a shout out to our sponsor, the folks who help bring this episode of Park People to you, BCI Burke. Play is where development soars and communities come together. At BCI Burke, we believe outdoor spaces should be thoughtfully designed, built to last, and welcoming to everyone. Because when design is intentional, people feel it. Learn more at bciburke.com. All right. Well, welcome to another Park People podcast with PRB Plus Magazine. I'm here today with Wyatt Moore, who is the Supervising Naturalist with the East Bay Regional Park District, which is in the San Francisco Bay Area. He is a supervisor or supervises the Big Break Regional Shoreline in Oakley, which is part of the great 1,150 square mile Sacramento San Joaquin River Delta, which is the largest estuary on the Pacific Coast. And today we're going to be talking about birding, how to identify opportunities to set up birding programs, how to staff them, how to make them work and run, and some examples of what good ones look like. So, Wyatt, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
How are you holding up?
I'm doing well. Yeah, great time of year out here on the Delta. It's a little cold this year,
Yes.
but love it. Lots of fog and tule fog and a lot less wind than normal, so it's a nice time to be out here.
So we're over in central Idaho, and it looks like have you guys been getting all the rain, or has it been north of you? I know that flooding in Washington and up north of you, but have you been getting any of that moisture? Or?
We've kind of avoided it. I think it's supposed to rain either this week or starting next week, which is good. It's like much needed. We've had a little bit of a dry-ish winter, but I think we've so far avoided some of like the heavy rainfalls.
Okay, perfect. Well, let's dig into it. So birding. We're going to talk about birding today. And I think the logical place to start is, maybe a description of, I think we know what birding is, but why don't we start there and talk a little bit about, what birders do and how they do it, and then how you can identify birding programs, opportunities for programs, I should say, in your agency, in your space, because it's probably available everywhere.
Yeah,
If you want to do it.
Yeah, so I think birding has kind of a wide umbrella term, right? I think a lot of people, when you first hear birding, it's very intimidating, right? You're like, there's so many birds. How am I going to remember them all? How am I going to identify them all? And they have, patterns and colors and sizes and calls and all of that stuff. But I think really for me, birding as a general term is just a time to go outside and look at nature. So that's what I love about it, is that it's really scalable. And whether, someone comes to a program and they're like, I have been birding for 20 years, I have a lifelong bird list, I love using eBird and all of these things, I track everything, like, great, we can do that. We can dive in to this really intense, nuanced version of birding. Or someone's like, I saw a bird in my backyard and it looked really cool and I just want to like find out what it was. And you're like, great, love that too. So yeah, for me, birding is really just about being outside, slowing down, observing nature, and feeling more connected to the natural space and the animals that are outside. And I think in terms of identifying programs, I think for us internally as a park district, the boom of birding has really come about. So COVID was a big catalyst. I think it was an activity that a lot of people could do on their own safely outside. I think when people were feeling really cooped up, they could go out to a local park, or again, even in their own backyard, and just kind of get fresh air and look at something different than a screen or whatever they were doing at the time. So I think some recent numbers I've seen is that around like 94 million people in the United States identify as birders of some type. So yeah, so incredibly popular activity. And so for us, it's really, our goal is to just really connect people to the natural and cultural resources of the East Bay. And I think birding, like, the need is out there, the want is out there. People want to know and people want to do this thing. And so we're constantly figuring out how to meet people where they're at and engage them in activities that they're excited about. And then I think from a birder perspective, yeah, like you mentioned, there's tons of opportunities out there. There's, you can obviously just do it on your own. You can go out anytime and just walk around. There's birding groups, there's local clubs, there's like Audubon Society, there's Golden Gate Bird Alliance, there's all types of stuff. And obviously there's our program. So I'd say the easiest way is to find a program that suits your needs is just a quick Google search. I mean, and things will pop up, and you can look by location or region. You can look at kind of skill level. Is it an entry course? Is it an experience course? Is it all learners course? You can look for like maybe different times of year, because depending on the time of year and where you are, you'll see all different kind of birds. So if you're looking for a really specific one that you haven't seen, like that might be the one for you.
So tell me what it looks like to be, if if I'm someone who's just thinks I have an interest in birding, find an entry level program. What would that entry level program teach me? What does it look like? What is my experience like? How does that kind of work? Like from, you guys are putting it on. What are you teaching me? And like, what do I have to, like, I'm not a birder, so
Right.
I mean, I know that fundamentally, I think there's some stories about people who have a checklist of all the birds they want to see, and they kind of, go through that checklist. But I don't even know if that's the real definition of a birder, or how, So what does it look like when you get into the field for the first time, or
Yeah,
the
I think
hobby
when
for the first time?
Yeah, I think when we're doing some entry level programs where people are just getting into the activity, I think for us and for me, it's really about understanding like why birds are so cool, right? So our brains can only retain so much information. So to expect like you're going to come into your first program and by the end of it, you're going to be able to identify and memorize 50 different birds, impossible.
Yeah,
So it's more so like why are birds cool? Why do we care about them? What's unique about their evolution and their anatomy? Um, how do they support the environment? What's going on in this area? So I think a kind of high level overview of why, yeah, just why we should care about birds and why they're so fascinating, because that sparks that curiosity and that interest. And then from there, I think there are kind of some common birds depending on where you are that are great spots to start. So there are usually a handful that like no matter what time of year, what time of day you're going out, like you will see this bird. And so it's practicing that repetition of building that confidence of like, oh, I know that bird. I remember that bird. And oh, that's that one that we talked about. And you get to see it day after day, and start to pick up on some of those skills of identifying.
yeah. And what do you need? What does a beginning birder need for equipment? Do they need any equipment? How does it work? I mean, I always see the quintessential, birder with the, $5,000 camera and the
Totally.
$4,000 binoculars and the funky hat and
Right. No, that's fair. I think, well, a part of our goal is to make all of our programs really accessible. And
yeah,
and the barrier to entry of some of these really high end or high priced items that you like quote unquote need, is
yeah,
not accessible to everyone, right? Like I can't
right,
go out and buy a $5,000 pair of binoculars. So
right,
I think in my version of birding, I think really all you need is yourself. Like,
yeah.
just go out, just go start, just look at birds, watch what they're doing, watch how they're interacting, listen to them, just observe their colors, their feathers, all of that good stuff. And that's a great starting point. As you progress, a good pair of binoculars is really helpful. Birds are small, birds move really fast and are often far away. So having that extra tool can be really helpful. And then when you get to that time of comfort and you're like, I'm ready to step up my game, get some sort of bird identification. So there's tons of resources, everything from, classic Birds of North America books from Nat Geo and things like that. But then now, and what's been really great for the birding community is some of these apps that we have, like Merlin and eBird. So I think it allows even more people to be engaged and to be able to see a figure in the distance and then look at a beautiful photo or a drawing of it and make those connections, are great. So yeah, I'd say
Do those
it
apps
doesn't
have
do much.
the ability to like take a picture and it'll help you identify like the plant apps do?
Yeah, so with like
Yeah,
with technology and AI and like all of that stuff, it's really
yeah,
come a long way.
yeah.
You can turn on the microphone of the app and it'll listen for bird sounds and then
Uh,
identify what the bird is based on what it's hearing. So
oh
pretty
my
amazing.
gosh. That's almost
I think
ridiculous. That's
some
crazy.
birding purists might not love that, but I think
Right.
but it's great. It's a great tool.
Right. I mean, part of it is to kind of have, build your knowledge base and I get that. But when you're starting out, those tools I would think would be huge.
Yeah, I use them every
So,
day.
let's talk about two things. I got two questions for you. So, you live in a special area. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about why your estuary is so special, and then, how you've used, your location to create these programs, and what worked, what didn't work. What people might want to consider if they're thinking about starting a program in their local park.
Mhm. In terms of the delta, like you mentioned, really, really special spot. We are a freshwater wetland. And we are pretty rare in that sense. You know, in this area, there's only about 3% left of the original wetland habitat that's been around for thousands of years. And especially this time of year, right now in winter and spring migrations, we have what's called the Pacific Flyway. So every year, hundreds of thousands of birds are migrating from north to south, starting in Alaska, Canada, flying all the way down to Mexico, South America. And just like when people go on a long journey, if you ever go on a long car ride or a road trip, like you need to rest, you need to stop, you need to go to the bathroom, you need to get food, you need to refuel, and birds need the same thing. So we're right at this amazing halfway point where birds who are on this 1,000+ mile journey can stop and rest and get food. And so without habitats like these freshwater estuaries and wetlands, these birds wouldn't be able to make their journey every year to the south and then back up north. So it provides just this beautiful opportunity for support of this amazing natural phenomenon of this flyway migration. And then also it supports opportunities for recreation and being able to see birds that, you know, are here for maybe a week or two, but it gets really exciting to see these beautiful shorebirds that you don't see, you know, 11 months out of the year.
Yeah, it's funny because I was in November. I was down at the Salton Sea,
Mm-hmm.
down by Palm Springs and in that way area, and that, of course, that's an estuary that's in duress, obviously a little bit right now, but part of the flyway that you're talking about, right? Like, you know, lots of stopover points there, and big birding location still, right? Like I think that state park there, the majority of people who come there are birders
Mm-hmm.
anymore, right? So how did you guys build your programs? You know, how long have they been going, and what's worked and what hasn't worked on that side of the fence?
They've been going for really since the park was created.
Oh, really?
So
Okay.
yeah, my predecessor Mike Moran, incredible birder, so
Okay.
knowledgeable, and
Yeah.
he started raptor bird count, and so every week or once a month they would go out and do some kind of community science. So they would walk around and they'd count different raptors, you know, like red-tailed hawks, red-shouldered hawks, white-tailed kites, all of those things, and keep track of it. And so
Huh.
the origin of birding out here has been a big break since kind of the beginning, and it's ebbed and flowed over time. I think what we're finding is uh, that like people like an opportunity to learn in a safe environment. So to come in and not feel like they're going to be judged if they don't know birds. And so what we do, yeah, is take, you know, we're not the experts of everything. Like we're also learning every single day, even as staff. And so I think that's really worked to build those connections where, hey, let's go out and just let's walk together, let's learn together. I might not know what this bird is, but we can look it up. We can learn and experience it together, which is a really powerful experience. The other thing that is really unique about Big Break and one of our more popular programs is our birding by kayak. Because of
Oh, that's
where
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because of where we are, the park used to be an old asparagus farm that flooded
Oh,
back in 1928.
huh.
So there was a big break of the levee that was making it a farm, which is how the park got the name Big Break. And so
Oh, cool.
so most of our park is actually submerged farmland underwater. So working with our recreation department, we're able to take people out on kayaks and go see the birds in the water. So right now, all of those migratory birds that are out there resting, we're going near them and we're seeing them, and just that dual experience of getting people out in kayaks, which not everyone has access to. Being out on the water in the delta is so special, and it immediately connects you to the land in a totally unique way. And
Yeah.
then yeah, getting out there into the Thule, you know, into these little cutouts and seeing some of the old submerged equipment out there where birds have built nests is a really special opportunity, and so people love that program.
Yeah. Yeah. I can imagine. It's
Hmm.
you know, we're stand-up paddle boarders and kayakers up here. We have a tendency, and I never thought about birding, but we do it to see moose and other animals, you
Oh
know,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like that. Uh, but it is an amazing, if you know, therapeutic way too, really, to connect with nature, but also to get out and get right in. And there's nobody around. There's no trails, you know, water trails, I guess, but no
Yeah.
actual trails. So, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Mhm.
How and you said it's about 1,100. Would you say 1,100? How big is the area? We read that
Uh,
at the beginning. I got already.
yeah, the delta is about 1,100 square miles. And then Big Break itself is about 1,648 acres.
Acres. Okay, gotcha.
Hmm.
Perfect. So if you were going to give advice to somebody who, maybe it's a department that, like you said, birds are everywhere, but doesn't have a birder or somebody with passion for birding on staff, but hey, we want to do this. How do they get started? Like, what resources should they use? How do they build the program? Like, um, maybe if they're like that, maybe they start with an entry level program and work their way up. I would guess, but like, what are your thoughts on that?
I think if someone wants to start off with a program and may not have a ton of experience birding, I think become a birder yourself.
Okay.
I know that might sound like an easy answer, but I think something that's really important is that as an educator, if you're excited about what you're teaching, if your passion is coming through, people are going to gravitate to that and they'll pick up on it and they'll feel it. So if you can go
Yeah.
out, maybe take a birding class yourself. A lot of community colleges offer them, local groups offer them. Get that baseline kind of information about birds, get psyched about it, and then be able to share that enthusiasm with others is a great thing. I also would recommend if you have the funds and resources, invest in a handful of not the most expensive, but just some nice suitable binoculars because again, that could be a barrier to entry. So we're very fortunate with our budget and our resources where people can come to our programs and borrow binoculars from us. They don't have to worry about,
Okay.
oh, I want a bird, but I don't have binoculars, so I can't go. It's like, no, come, we got
Yeah.
you. We'll support you.
Yeah.
Um, and then investing in
And is
some
that
of those.
something that if you were starting a program, maybe having three or four binoculars, that are park funded, might
Mhm.
not be a bad idea? Sounds
Yeah,
like.
yeah, any resources that you can provide and not expect people to bring with them is always a big help.
Hmm.
So binoculars, a few birding books. But the good news is these days, almost everyone has a smartphone,
Yeah.
and those apps like Merlin and eBird are free.
Yeah.
So we've transitioned a lot into kind of leaning into those where
Sure.
it's like, great, we may not have 20 bird books for everyone, but hey, let's pull out our phone, let's look at this app, let's see how to use it, and add that
Yeah.
into the educational aspect.
Well, and I suppose too, if you're a beginner birder and you want to put the class together or whatever it is, that's an interesting tool. That's you don't have all the knowledge maybe at the beginning, but you have a tool that can really help you. And I suppose too, because it works on sound, maybe you can't see it, but that you've got birds around you,
Hmm.
kind of a deal. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
an interesting thought. So tell us about your program. So I know you guys have bird exploration. You've got a Monday birding program. We got what, one, two, three, four, five, six different programs. Is that about right?
So Big Break, the park that I work at, we have two main birding programs. We have the birding by
Two.
kayak, and then we have birding at Big Break. So one is on land,
Okay.
one is on water. Some of these
Okay.
other programs in the article are throughout our interpretive and interp and
Oh,
recreation
gotcha.
department.
Okay. Sorry, I
And
didn't
so
understand that.
no, yeah, and so it's just great that yeah, all of us are really connected as an interpretive staff to be able to share this because, again, depending on where you go, like the birds you see at Big Break are going to be way different than the birds you see at Tilden, which is closer to Oakland and the San Francisco Bay.
Ah,
Um,
gotcha.
and then another thing I mentioned in the article is our Black Birders Week. So that also
Mm.
started a few years ago based off of some societal incidences, specifically with Chris Cooper in Central Park
Oh,
in New
okay.
York. And so it's formed this kind of nationwide celebration of people of color and Black people being able to be safe and included outside in parks. And so every year around this time, different sites, we all host days of Black Birders Week and really focus on inclusivity and accessibility and letting everyone know that the parks are safe, the parks are here for you, you are welcome, we want you here, and it's a beautiful celebration of not only birds but of culture, of people, of togetherness, of equity and inclusion. And so it's an example of how birding really transcends just looking at birds, right? It can really
Right.
not only do that, but it can also bring people together and make strong connections.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Well, cool. So what has been the response from your community to this? Like, are your classes usually full? Are they, maybe I know there's some seasonal nature to it because you have programs that you put on seasonally with, when they're flying to Mexico and when they're flying back, right? South
Mhm.
America, but they run year round, right? They run
Mhm.
regularly.
Birds are
Yeah,
always around, which is great.
great.
Yeah, I think the response has been really strong, and we kind of are looking at expanding our location is in different parks. So currently
Oh,
we're just
okay.
doing our main Big Break area, but we have some other regional parks near us that we would love to go explore and look at just to see the diversity out there. And then we have some of these other uh, once a year celebrations like the Great Backyard Bird Count and Great Winter Bird Count, and those are wonderful. You'll get all ages, all backgrounds, everything from a group of scouts to again experienced retired birders and all of that. And so it's a really fun opportunity, which then also connects into community science. So not only are we out there learning and looking at birds, but we're collecting data that feeds into a larger nationwide database to
Yeah.
help with tracking of bird species.
Oh, nice, nice. What's the craziest bird? What's the craziest bird you've seen, and then what's your holy grail, the one that you're still trying to get eyes on?
Oh, good question. The craziest bird
You,
I've seen.
and I don't know what
One,
crazy the definition is there,
yeah,
but whatever you
one of
whatever you think of it as.
one of my favorite birds that comes through this time of year is the sandhill crane. They
Okay.
are incredible, and it's a really cool. I won't give the whole spiel because it would take forever, but
Yeah.
it's a really cool story of resiliency of those birds, resiliency of the delta, and changing land from dry agriculture to flooded rice fields, which is
Hmm.
a whole other topic.
Sure.
And but to see these like prehistoric massive birds, it's
Yeah.
really cool. You go up in spots in the delta, you're driving down these dirt roads on these flooded rice fields. You see them, they're picking, for food and things like that, and you're like, this is really cool. And then the sun starts to set, and you kind of look in the distance, and you're like, what? What are those dots in the sky? And they
Yeah.
just come closer and closer and get bigger and bigger, and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these prehistoric looking sandhill cranes are flying in to rest for the night, and the
Very
sky is
cool.
just full of them and the sun is setting. It is just a magical
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
um,
We get them here in central Idaho where we've got a lot of lakes.
mhm.
And I don't know if it's a stopover. We don't get them in the quantities that you're talking about. We get when I see them mountain biking and stuff, I see two or three together, right? Like that's
Mhm.
about it. But prehistoric is a good description of
Yeah.
what they look like.
Hmm.
They're beautiful and they're also like, holy cow, like
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah. And then
So
one of the bird
what's the
uh,
holy grail? What's the white elephant that you're looking for? Or
yeah,
whatever the right phrase is.
one of the birds I've heard it here in the park, but I haven't seen it yet, is a bittern. They are really cool shorebirds. But
What kind
they're
of it's a what'd you call it?
bittern, Bittern.
Okay.
They're really good at camouflage and really
Uh,
elusive. So, um,
are they
pretty.
what species are they? Like they're not a raptor. Are they just
Yeah,
what are
they're
they?
kind of in line with, if you imagine, similar-ish to like a heron or an egret kind of
Oh, okay, sure.
ish.
That
Um,
family, let's call it.
yeah, but they're really cool, amazing camouflage. They blend into all the vegetation here. They stand like with their head up completely like statues when they're startled. So, um,
Oh,
they're awesome birds, and it's just the fun and that's what's so fun about birding is you can have that bird,
yeah.
and you never know when you'll see it. You just gotta
Right.
to keep your eye out.
Right.
Mhm.
Perfect. Well, Wyatt, I really appreciate your time. Is there, if we were to flip this around, since you're the expert and I'm just a knucklehead here, is there anything I should have asked you? Like if you were doing the interview, anything we should have covered, anything that we missed that somebody on the other side of this is screaming, why didn't you ask this?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think the only thing is like I kind of mentioned, like don't be afraid of birding. Whether you're a
Yeah,
participant or you're a staff member trying
yeah,
to start a program, don't be afraid of it. It's really
yeah.
fun. It's a great opportunity to build your skill set, learn something new, and it's pretty addicting. So once you start, it's like really hard
I can tell.
to
I can
stop.
tell. I could be interested in that. To me, it seems like if I'm on the park side, if I'm on your side of the equation, right? Like a program that's relatively low cost,
Mhm.
can be started with minimal resources, is got an exercise component but can be done by any age, right?
Yep,
So it's outdoors, it's healthy, it checks all the boxes.
it really does.
And then it has that intellectual component, which a lot of our programs they kind of do, but they're more like our fitness programs, our trail program, all that stuff. There's not many that I can think of off the top of my head where you're like have that intellectual. component to it, right? And I don't mean that in a bad way, but I'm
Totally.
like where your mind has to work along with the rest of your body because you're trying to identify something. I can't think of a good comparison really in our other programs,
Yeah.
maybe if we had a chess program or something, but that would, there you're sitting, I mean, this has some interesting, it kind of like I said, checks all the boxes, which is
Totally. And like I
interesting.
said, it's really scalable, right? So you
Yeah,
can, and that's what's so fun is you can go like, hey, that's a bird. Great, we're birding. Or like, what is this exact species? What's the scientific name? Where's it coming
right,
from? What, like, you can get
right,
really nerdy on it.
right, right,
Yeah.
nerdy. Yeah, I don't need another hobby, but I'd be interested.
Yeah.
This sounds to me a little bit like addictive as like fly fishing is, right? Like,
Oh, oh,
yeah,
and all the fly, like all the different
yeah,
techniques.
you start
Love
tying
it.
it,
I
yeah, and you're
love
like,
it.
yeah, yeah, and you've got a box full of stuff that you can't even eat, more flies than you'll ever be able to put on a line. Yeah, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
One thing at a time.
One day at a time. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, hey, have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Yeah.
I appreciate your time, and obviously this will come out after the first of the year.
Right.
But thanks for everything. Is there any questions you have for me? Anything else you want to shout
No,
out?
I appreciate the time. This was fun. I had a good time.
Yeah. Okay. Well, have a great week, and I appreciate it.
Alrighty. Bye.
Okay, buddy. See you, Wyatt.